You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by Autozone.
The Tigers are on a roll. 4 straight wins after beating the 49ers in Charlotte. We'll recap that game, sit down with this year's #1 wide receiver, and look ahead to a big-time home showdown against SMU. It's the Ryan Silverfield Show. Let's go.
The game is on.
The Ryan Silverfield Show is presented by Autozone. When you've got car trouble, you want help from #1. So if you've got a battery problem, head to Autozone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, Autozone. And by Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent chicken, just the chicken sandwich. RJ Young, technology solutions that power your business. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams.
This is what you call a roll. Now the Tigers are 8-2. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Woloshin.
And I'm Doc Holliday. Let's take a look at the highlights.
The big question coming in, would Seth Hennigan play after injuring his left shoulder last week? QB1, tough as they come. He gutted it out and started under center, but it definitely affected him throughout the day. This was a very nervous moment. Second quarter, Hennigan scrambles for the third down conversion, but instead of sliding, he dives headfirst and lands directly on that bad shoulder. Immediately could see he was in pain. He'd leave the game, and at that point, we're wondering if he's coming back, but indeed, he would be back for the next drive and led the Tigers on an 80-yard march. Finishes it off by finding a wide open Demir Blankensee crib call. 35-yard score. Memphis makes it a 17-14 game at the half. Early third quarter, 49ers move into Memphis territory, but this Tiger defense had Trexler Ivy in the blender all day. 4 interceptions. This one to Chandler Martin, who jumps in front of it. He has reservations for 6 going the other way. Pick 6 gives U of M a 21-17 lead. Jump ahead to the fourth. 49ers now up 24-21. Their run game was no joke. Joaquin Banda with nothing but green grass in front. Easy 31-yard score, makes it 31-21 Charlotte. Tigers in a bit of trouble, but Sutton Smith had a big kickoff return right after for Memphis. 2 plays later, Blake Watson, easy money. It's a 3-point game. The star of the show for Charlotte, Hassan Wilson, who had 1 career carry before this game, had 198 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in this contest alone. 3-yard score. Charlotte goes back up 10. But again, Hennigan and this offense never flinch. They go 75 yards in 5 plays. Watson, great contact balance to back into the end zone. 8-yard score. It's 38-35 Charlotte with just over 5 to play. Tigers got the stop they needed, drove into Charlotte territory. 40 seconds left. Tanner Gillis keeping cool under pressure from 41 yards out. Missed a very similar kick earlier in the game, but in the clutch moment, he has ice in his veins. We're tied at 38 going to overtime. 49ers got the ball first in the extra period, missed a field goal. Any points win it for the Tigers. Watson says, let's go home. The hat trick and the walk-off. The Cardiac Kids do it again. Tigers pull off a 10-point comeback to win it 44-38. They move to 8-2 on the year. Let's hear some post-game chatter from the winners.
So we had faith in Gillis. You know, if they stopped the run, then we just kick a field goal and win the game. But, you know, they couldn't stop the run in the overtime period. And that, you know, that came down to just, you know, will to win and will to finish from our offensive line and our tight ends and Blake. You know, a lot of people made mistakes this game early on, and, you know, I'm just proud of our guys for the way we responded and bounced back. I had a pick early and, you know, responded pretty well, I guess. You know, Blake had the fumble, responded well. Everyone made mistakes, so just being able to respond and come out with a win is all that matters.
Coach, part of the things that make sports so interesting is the way a game changes. I counted this past week, FBS teams, over 18 of them had 42 points or more. This is no longer Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler. The game has totally changed. How did we get to this evolution?
Yeah, I think as the years have gone on, we heard about the evolution of the air raid offense, right? These up-tempo spread offenses, seeing a variety of different things. Let's even go back to Navy, right? Navy used to be a huddle, triple option. You could see you could count them all, and they'd all be there in one small tight picture. And then they play us, and they got receivers going out and different guys going out in formations and motions, and it's a completely different offense. And I think what's happened over time is, right, the offensive minds are getting more creative. You're seeing faster tempo things. And then one of the things that's discounted to the average person is the aggressiveness of the play caller on fourth downs. Now, you say, well, what do you mean by that? More teams are apt to go for it. So if you get a 4th and 2, and maybe even on your own 40, 90% of head coaches are going to say, let's go for it. And which that then changes the third down play call, because if you feel like, hey, this is now 4 down territory, that 3rd and 6 where it may have normally been a pass, and on the headset you hear, okay, hey, we got two times to get it. Well, maybe we can hand the ball off on a 3rd and 6. That puts the defense in a little bit of a bind, and now the offense is more aggressive. I think we're seeing that throughout college football, and it's making obviously a difference on the scoreboard.
And talking about air raid and teams that like to pass, and I hate them. They talking about the devaluing of a running back, but you still need a good running back, and we have a good running back. How do you recruit a good running back when they're looking at you and be like, well, coach, you throw the ball all the time? How do you get somebody to still come to your program knowing that they might not get the Rockets?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And part of this evolution is this RPO, this run pass option. The fans say, okay, what does that mean? So the ideal is, right, to hand the ball off. And now some of these quarterbacks think it's a pass run option, right, because it helps their stats. But I think, part of that is this RPO, this run pass option. But here at Memphis, we still value the running back. Obviously, clear by what we've been able to do with Blake Watson, Sutton Smith, Brandon Thomas, plus all the great running backs we have in the NFL right now. History of Doc Holliday, yes, D'Angelo Williams, all these wonderful running backs. I'm not going to leave anybody out. We've had so many. So we still value it. And I think what you're also showing is that they've got to be valuable in the pass game as well. Not just in pass protection, but now being able to get them out in screens, get them out in different routes. Now, hey, lining up in an empty formation, wait, okay, we're going to take that matchup with that linebacker or that, box safety and put them one-on-one with a running back that can run the routes. And I think that's allowed to be more creative in the offensive system to still keep the value of the running back high.
All right, now the pendulum always swings. Now it's all offense. Look at all those scores. How will the defense get back into the game? Is there going to be rule changes or schematic things here, more blitzing? What's going to happen?
Well, I think, let's go back to even maybe about 10 years ago. As the RPO started coming, the tempo offenses, some of even these air raids, you saw the creation of a 3-3-5 defense. And what does that mean? Now teams were adding, instead of playing with 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers that were all 250 pounds, you saw more defensive back type bodies, right? Maybe guys that they called nickels, guys that can run and hit, guys that can play in coverage. And so you're seeing the evolution of some of the defensive schemes to try to counteract, hey, this is what most of our conference plays, this type of offense. How do we answer that? And so I think you're still going to have your traditional teams that are going to line up there with 2 tight ends and fullback, which we have shown. I think you got to be able to be multiple. But I think defenses are going to try to find ways to continue to be aggressive and not just sit back and say, okay, hey, keep pouring us on, keep taking it, whether it's creative blitz schemes, find different ways, even recruiting more hybrid type of guys. Maybe a guy that can be a linebacker and put his hand in the ground. Now all of a sudden you're not sure where he's lined up, or a linebacker that can drop back and play. And I think part of it, when you start to see some of these defensive schemes change, guys like Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs. Urlacher was a safety in college. Lance Briggs could run faster in daylight. So, you get those guys, or 2 linebackers walked up in the A-gap, they're getting things. So I think it's going to be a cat and mouse game back and forth. I'm excited to see what it looks like over the next, 5 years, next 10 years. But guess what? Change is coming. That's the only inevitable thing in college football.
Last year, Rock Taylor didn't get much playing time. This year, he's the Tigers' #1 wide receiver. We'll chronicle that journey coming up next.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by Autozone.
Welcome back to the Ryan Silverfield Show. The Tigers lost a number of their top pass catchers after last season, and many wondered who the #1 wide receiver would be on this year's team. Turns out the answer was in-house all along in Rock Taylor. At 6 years old, Taylor was introduced to football by a cousin who was a coach.
Oh, so I was in the front yard one day and we was playing like tag football, and he came over and he seen me play. He was like, he loved the way that I run the ball. So ever since then, he signed me up for the team and I tried out and I made it. So yeah.
You play any other sports, or was it always football?
I played basketball in high school. I was pretty good in basketball too.
What position you play in basketball?
Power forward.
What was your game like?
It was good. They called me Dennis Rodman because, I get rebounds a lot, so yeah.
Taylor is one of 4 siblings, all brothers, who he says were the biggest reason he made it to this point.
Yeah, because like without them, I wouldn't be where I am now because we love to compete. Like, we had bad days, good days, but they was there for me. So I said my brothers.
Taylor had a dominant senior year at Oxford High School in Alabama with 52 catches, 17 of them going for touchdowns, and he was a 3-star recruit committed to Tennessee. But not everything went according to plan. The rug was pulled out from under Taylor when former head coach Jeremy Pruitt was fired.
The whole situation went down with the whole staff and everything, and ever since then, like, it was like a day before signing day, I got a call and said it wasn't under my scholarship, and it went down from there. So that's when everything just went from here to here quick. So yeah.
What's that like to hear, just to have that dropped on you?
It was definitely a hard thing to hear because that's where I wanted to go at first, and I had my mind set there, and everybody in my family was gonna come. It was all gonna be there, sign that paper, but it was a hard feeling, but things happen.
On top of that, Taylor was figuring out fatherhood. He had 2 daughters, Ryan and Caitlin, while he was still in high school.
Oh, it was really challenging, especially for me to be a first-time dad to 2. So it was very, very challenging for me. It was just a lot going on, a lot of frustration, a lot of just bad days. Yeah,
all nights of it.
Yeah, it was really challenging.
After the opportunity in Knoxville disappeared, Taylor found his home on the other side of the state.
So how did the relationship here start?
I say after that, I was talking to the old receiver coach that was here, Glitton, Drew, that was a strength condition coach that was here. And I started talking to Silverfield a lot more, so it grew as I talked to them more.
Taylor didn't play a ton his freshman year, but thought he'd have an opportunity to make an impact in year 2. That didn't materialize early.
Oh, it was really frustrating because, like, I came in, like, we had lost Calvin Austin, he had left, and we had needed an extra receiver, so I thought I can be that guy and go play and be the extra receiver to back him up. So when that time came, like, the first game of the season, I really didn't touch the field, so I was like kind of wondering, like, am I gonna play or playing time come or what? And then as the season go, it just was, I was getting more and more upset because I wasn't getting the playing time that I thought I was going to get.
About midway through the season, Taylor reached an inflection point.
You approach Ryan or go up to Ryan in his office and talk to him about taking a red shirt that season.
Yes, sir, I did.
Walk me through your thought process now.
So like after the 5th or 6th game, I gave it enough time to see, am I going to get playing time or not? I got some, but it wasn't like getting the ball or it was just more blocking. So as I did that after the 5th game, so I went up to his office and I talked to him. I was like, Coach, I don't think I'm ready enough or y'all trust me enough to go and play. So I think I want a red shirt to build myself and my confidence and work on my game. So when it's my time, I can do what I have to do.
But he talked you out of it. What did he say? What did he convey to you to make you rethink it?
He was just more to say, you just got to work harder, you got to practice harder, and just trust in the process. He was like, if you trust me, you trust in the process that when your time comes, you're going to shine.
Taylor took Silverfield at his word, and things started turning. He saved his best for last, putting up a season high, 4 catches for 48 yards in the bowl win against Utah State. Not a monster performance, but an important one for him going into the offseason.
Oh, it was more definitely a boost because after that game, I felt like, okay, next season, I got to come back. I showed them what I can do a little bit, but it's a lot more I can do to help the team win games. So, yeah, it was definitely a confidence booster.
Then this offseason, when 4 of the Tigers' top pass catchers left, Taylor saw opportunity again, but knew he had to go to work to seize it.
Obviously, a couple of transfer guys come in, Demir, Toski, whatever, and there's this conversation throughout the offseason about who the number 1 wide receiver is going to be. And admittedly, it might have been our fault, but we probably didn't mention your name enough. Did you feel like you were slept on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like I was slept on. But that's me. Like, me, I'm always humble. Like, if you think this person's better than me, I'm just sit back and I'm going to show you who's the number 1 receiver is.
And he's done exactly that this season. Taylor put his name on the map with 3 straight 100-yard games against Mizzou, Boise State, and Tulane.
It did a lot for me because it's a big accomplishment because me come out there and playing my game. Like, I don't worry about yards or catches, none of that. I just go and play. Whatever the stats is after the game, that's the stats. I just like to go and play ball and have fun.
How, given your journey, what happened with Tennessee and not playing much first 2 years, almost taking a red shirt, how gratifying has it been to experience this season?
It's been a good experience. Like I said, I don't take nothing for granted. I believe things happen for a reason. And I appreciate that happened, because if that never happened, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Throughout his journey, the trials and tribulations and the breakout this year, his 2 daughters have been his biggest driving force.
So I think about them and just think about the times that I didn't have the opportunity to go out there and play. So that's what I think about. It motivates me going to play on the field. It really motivates me to push myself more in the offseason and get to where I'm at now. And I'm still trying to do that now as the season goes on in the next season.
In his school that's got a recent history of some pretty darn good receivers, we got a new guy, Rock Taylor, who he himself says he's doing things now he could not have done a year ago. How did he get so much better?
Yeah, I think let's give credit to Rock off the field first. I think the maturation process, like it occurs for all of us, especially when we first get to college, is understanding how to be a student, then understanding how to be a student athlete. Oh, and then, by the way, going and dominating both. And I think that's what we're seeing is the maturation process of Rock Taylor. And the great news is our fans are seeing it right before their very eyes. We always knew that he was a special talent and a smart young man, but I think what we're seeing is, okay, wow, watch this guy continue to make plays. Watch what he's able to do on Saturdays. He's electric. He's been phenomenal. He's doing a great job, but I think we always knew what he had in him, and now we're seeing the coming out party this season.
I watched him, I was like, man, he always singing and dancing. It seems like he always upbeat.
Yeah, and that's what you want, right? You want young men that are the ability to have immense focus, and you appreciate that. That's part of the growth we're talking about. But then, man, you gotta love the guys that love ball, right? That come out to practice with a Tuesday morning. They're probably tired and a little bit sore, and they know the coach is about to get on their tail. And he's smiling and say, all right. And you can coach him hard, and he loves it. And he's coach me, coach mentality, and he enjoys it. And when the music's playing during stretch, he's dancing, having fun, but he is so dialed in. And if you have the ability to go out there and play really hard, really fast, and dominate, and can enjoy it, man, that's what makes a heck of a football player and a true joy to be around.
Hard to believe it, but the final home game of the regular season is on tap. We'll preview SMU coming up next.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by Autozone. Let's take a look at the Autozone road ahead.
Here we go. SMU, I go back to 19 game day, and I think we got the makings for another classic.
Yeah, look, they're obviously doing things at a high level. They're put a lot of money into their facilities, into their program, into their squad, and they're humming this year, right? We know how explosive their offense is. They know what they're doing. They got a ton of players, and it's going to be a heck of a matchup here.
Why is this always consistently a huge game, a huge matchup between these two squads?
Yeah, I think, you look at what SMU did long before I even was brought into this world and the success they had. And you look at, Memphis prides himself on being a blue-collar city, right? We know what SMU prides himself on being. And we recruit the Dallas area. It's always been a great rivalry. They always had talented rosters. So, look, the back and forth, you go back to even recent years, college game day, what an atmosphere that was still, I believe, a one-score game. So, look, it's going to be a 12-round fight, and we're excited for it.
That was tonight's AutoZone Road Ahead. AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination and official sponsor of Tiger Athletics. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And this is possibly the last time Memphis will ever play SMU in football. Back with a wrap in just a minute.
You're watching The Ryan Silverfield Show, presented by AutoZone.
Thanks so much for watching. Next week, we'll take a look at those highlights from SMU and talk about our final game of the year. Have a great week, everybody.
The Ryan Silverfield Show is presented by AutoZone. When you've got car trouble, you want help from #1. So if you've got a battery problem, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And by Conway Services, the official HVAC partner of Tiger Athletics. Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent chicken, just the chicken sandwich. RJ Young, technology solutions that power your business. Tennessee Lottery, turning dollars into dreams. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Memphis. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of the University of Memphis and Learfield.